Hello YouTube, my name is Nadia, but you can call me Nod. Today, we're yapping about the one, the only 2004 Samurai Champloo and why it's still relevant and so very much loved in 2024. I do want to give just a small little disclaimer. This is my first research video in a very long time. That said, I have all of my research and sources linked in the Google Doc in the description box. And if you have any feedback or constructive criticism, I welcome you to please leave it in the comments. So a little fun fact for you guys. I originally titled this video, Why We Still Love Samurai Champloo in 2023, because I originally was researching this last year, but better late than never, I guess. But with that information in mind, I do want to let you know that I conducted this research and made this script, so there won't be any spoilers about the show, just elements of it, of why I love it, and then objectively, from the critics, what elements made it such a successful anime in general. To start off and set the scene of the story for you guys, Samurai Champloo follows three main protagonists, Fu, Jean, and Mugen. Fu is a 15-year-old girl who recently lost her mother to illness, and we meet her while she's working in a Tokugawa-era tea house that happens to burn to the ground and leads to a daring rescue that includes Jean and Mugen. Jean is an extraordinarily skilled ronin and orphan who was raised in a dojo, while Mugen is kind of a wild card, honestly, and an ex-pirate who was originally from the Ryukyu Islands, also known as modern-day Okinawa. You'll come to find when watching this show that Jean and Mugen's personalities are basically polar opposites in literally everything that they do, from fighting styles to women, that they spend majority of the show trying not to kill each other, and it gets really interesting during their journey how we learn more about their backstories and how they became the people that they are today. Samurai Champloo is directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, who was extremely well known for Cowboy Bebop. Samurai Champloo seamlessly fuses samurai culture with hip-hop and urban influences, leaving a unique and lasting impression on the animation industry at this time. So in 2023, when I was initially researching about this topic, I actually posted on TikTok asking you guys what's some of the reasons why you love Samurai Champloo still in the 2020s. And literally the top answer everyone gave me was because of the music. So I thought it would be most appropriate to start off with how the music plays such a huge role in making this anime as iconic as it is. The music of Samurai Champloo was composed by Nujabes, Shingo 2, Fat John, Tsuchi, and Force of Nature, and it combines hip-hop, jazz, and lo-fi elements. Nujabes, often hailed as the father of lo-fi, composed the opening theme song, also called Battle Cry, which captures the essence of the entire show. And in case you live under a rock, or maybe you're just a sheltered child, we've all been there, okay? Lo-fi music is essentially known for its nostalgic and calming beats, and it initially surged popularity on YouTube, I would say late 2010s, early 2020s. It's often used as background music during studying or relaxing, and Nujabes music specifically evoke nostalgia and provide a form of escapism that's really resonated deeply the past few years, just with the uncertain times of life these days. And to kind of dovetail off of that, I really do think with TikTok becoming as popular as it has, both as a platform for literally everything, but initially for music and dancing, the way that Y2K has really risen to prominence on the app, and that whole early 2000 aesthetic is kind of in line with Samurai Champloo being released in 2004, and that the fact all that music at that time was released then too. So it kind of makes sense that like Gen Z has rediscovered Samurai Champloo's soundtrack and thus has led it to become more popular again in the 2020s. Like, there are even multiple Modal Soul playlists or albums on YouTube with now a collective view count of over 5 to 6 million, which is insane. And I wish I knew if there was a tool to see how many views those playlists or videos had pre-2020. And I'd love to see like how much growth there has been since then, because that'd be very interesting to see. Finally, many fans attribute their fond memories of the anime and the resurgence of Lo-Fi to Nujabe's work, which lives on despite his untimely death at 26. I actually saw Shingo 2 and Oma UK in concert at the end of August this year. They actually went on tour kind of doing an homage to Nujabe's and to Samurai Champloo, and it was just such a beautiful, beautiful event, and I was literally bawling my eyes out at the end, but so worth it. I'm so happy it went. So with music being such a prominent element into the success of Samurai Champloo as an anime, I think it's only fair to recognize hip-hop and the subcultures of hip-hop also playing a huge role into its success. Watanabe's integration of hip-hop into Samurai Champloo was actually inspired by his teenage years, in which he was a huge fan of the genre. The anime doesn't just reference hip-hop, it also respects it. It weaves it into the narrative through episodes completely dedicated to things like breakdancing, graffiti, and beatboxing, all seen within Edo period settings. In a 2015 Otaku USA magazine article, Mike Dent highlighted this blend comparing Samurai Champloo to also very well-known Afro Samurai, notes that while the latter often leaned on stereotypes, Samurai Champloo uses hip-hop as an homage, blending Okinawan culture, Japanese history, and gritty acoustic beats seamlessly. Now, one thing about hip-hop, you can't really recognize it as its own subculture without also understanding that it originated in an urban setting, specifically in the Bronx from New York, and the urban representation within Samurai Champloo is once again another element which makes his anime stand out from all the rest. The show's depiction of Edo Japan leans into the urban, gritty elements, showcasing cities like Tokyo, Yokohama, and Osaka. The term champloo is actually derived from the Okinawan dish champuru, symbolizing the mix of cultures in the series, diversity being usually a huge aspect of urban lifestyles. We see elements of urban life such as brothels, yakuza, and kabuki theater, reflecting a time of social upheaval and change. Samurai Champloo also delves into adult themes such as violence and sexuality from the very first episode. Mugen's interactions with women often lead to his downfall, showcasing the flawed, messy side of his character. On the flip side, I feel like Jean's interactions make him such a heartthrob, and he's honestly like, I feel like every fangirl's favorite from the anime, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a Mugen girly despite the low effort attempt on cosplaying today. Think of that what you will. I also want to add that a lot of the episodes within the show that kind of has more sexual themes, it does it in a very polarizing way at times. There are things that could have been represented better, but they also present it in a very humorous way too. There's also a whole episode dedicated to the original art of, or the original, what's it called? Oh yeah. There's also a whole episode within the series dedicated to ukiyo-e art, which is actually a Japanese art style that's a common euphemism for sex. It presents it kind of in a sketchy way, but also like it highlights it as an art too. So there's a time and a place for both representations of sex within the series. The anime also includes subtle LGBTQ plus representation, breaking away from typical norms and adding layers of complexity compared to other animes of this time. I also really enjoy the episode highlighting LGBTQ representation, how it doesn't make a caricature out of the sexuality. Yeah, I just think it does it quite well. So to go into a little bit about the reception of the anime, Samurai Champloo has received overall positive reviews and reception both from North American and Japanese audiences, ultimately proving to be a commercial success. Sources like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb unanimously praise the anime for its plot, music choices, and character design. This highlights the series' main takeaway. However, while there was an additional praise for the animation and character styles, which are very distinct of Watanabe's work, some reviewers have noted that the animation quality and style has aged poorly, despite being instantly recognizable. I personally believe that the agedness of the animation style is kind of to Samurai Champloo's advantage and like longevity for how iconic it is as an anime, kind of going back to that whole take of nostalgia and how popular it's been the past few years through these uncertain times. Sometimes it's nice to revisit an older anime or an older show and like re-experience those feelings of watching it for the first time again and where we were in our lives at those times. And although praise outweighs criticism, certain elements within the series can be particularly offensive depending on the viewer's demographic and background. For instance, Fu's frequent kidnappings and the sexual remarks made about her, despite her being a minor, have drawn strong criticism. Japan has long faced issues with infantilization. That's a hard one for me. Fetishization, misogyny, and the overall sexualization of schoolgirls in the media dating back to the 1800s. This isn't like a new topic. Mina Lei actually did a really great video about this way back when she started her channel, and this is like how I actually found her on YouTube. Definitely watch it if you're wanting some more in-depth information specifically about like the schoolgirl trope, both in anime and just in Asian media. This isn't an issue that's exclusive to Japan, but it is distinctly represented in media, leaving anime with some problematic portrayals. Nevertheless, Japan seems to be slowly addressing these deep-rooted issues. Evidence of this can be seen in initiatives like women-only passenger cars, forced shutter sounds on cell phones, and recent law reforming sex offense charges to raise the age of consent, which may eventually influence media portrayals. Although I'm really happy that these things are being like put in place to help with the portrayal of anime within media, I do think like this is a very deep-rooted systematic issue, and ultimately like these actions being taken, besides raising the age of consent, feel like band-aids to the issue versus actual like solutions. And I don't know what the solution is, but I do think it's an interesting conversation to have. And I think it's important for viewers of anime to like recognize like, yeah, this is an issue and we should be speaking up about anytime it's a little odd or a little off about viewing certain elements within anime, and we should raise our voices about it. Also, as a side note, the baseball episodes depict Americans very much as Yankees in a very negative connotation. While this is a stereotypical representation, it does have some historical basis. The baseball trope is also common in many anime series and typically serves as a throwaway episode before the final arc of any series. And finally, I do just want to kind of like ask and continue the conversation as to why this anime still resonates in 2024. The blend of historical and modern influences, complex storytelling, and rich character dynamics keep Samurai Champloo relevant in 2024. It challenges conventions by merging hip-hop and samurai narratives, exploring themes of freedom, identity, and self-discovery that still speak to audiences today. I also want to give like my 2 cents about a couple things. I think what makes it so successful, and also this might be a controversial take, but like a lot of people hate the ending to the show, and honestly, that kind of ending is very common to a lot of Watanabe's work. And not just that, a lot of East Asian literature and media and their take on tragedy is usually so much more intense than the Western take. Fun fact, I do have a degree in Asian studies and international studies, and I have done so much analyses of traditional and contemporary Asian literature to say that the storytelling and the complexity of East Asian media and anime really reigns and shines through in Samurai Champloo, in that even though the plot itself wasn't the main focus throughout the show, it was mostly about the journey the entire time. And I think that's what makes it so beautiful, because even though it's like, obviously like none of that really happened to an extent, the reality of the show and how it resonates with its viewers is that journeys like that are real. Like 3 random people that happen to come together through like through a similar end goal. Like I feel like that shit happens in real life, and once you get to that end goal, maybe those 3 people go their separate ways. Like that feels like a very real journey to have, and it's like, it's very deep. It's heartwarming, and it's deep, and it's beautiful, and it's heart-wrenching too. Anyways, so that was my take and just me yapping about Samurai Champloo. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I know this was kind of like a high level, like on the surface dive into the series. I have other thoughts about like the animation style and like the choreography of like the fight scenes, and I'd like to go deeper at some point. So if that's something you guys would like to watch in the future, like feel free to leave a comment. If you want more analyses videos like this of anime, film, and games, please leave a like and a comment and consider subscribing. Let me know what you'd like me to yap about next, and until next time, bye!